the negotiations that culminated in Resolution 435. So Theo Ben Gurab is buried here. Of course, the icon, the stalwart, Andimba Toivo is also laid to rest here. And we all know his history. He was one of the founder members of OPO, OPC, Ovambulan People's Congress, which then became the Ovambulan People's Organization, which then was transformed into the Southwest Africa People's Organization, SWAPO. He is one of the founder members, a key founder member, spent many years on Robben Island, and was also the symbol for SWAPO and Namibia's liberation. His photograph was used alongside that of Mandela's to galvanize support for SWAPO in exile. Also buried here is Hidipo Hamutenya, one of the ideologues of SWAPO, renowned thinker, renowned intellect, who crafted, including the national anthem of Namibia and the national anthem of SWAPO, crafted by Hidipo Hamutenya. He is also laid to rest here. And of course, you, Kadambire, you have the forefathers, the first war of liberation. You have people like symbolically, because their bodies are not actually here, but they have symbolically. Who are those?
Yes, amongst them is Chief Kahime Manguvauva. We do know that Chief Ngubauva of the Ovambanderu was wounded in a battle in 1896, and thereafter he surrendered to the Germans, but he was executed thereafter, and so symbolically he's buried here. The anti-colonial resistance obviously is something that preceded the national liberation struggle, and those heroes are honored here. Nehale Liambingana, the king of the Ondonga, who defeated the settlers of the Deutschland Trek in 1886, and the German colonial forces at Fort Namutoni in 1904. Samuel Maharero, paramount chief of the Herero people, who led uprisings against German colonialism. That obviously resulted in the Herero Nama War of 1904 to 1908. Hendrik Vetboy, who's depicted on our currency, the chief of the Nama people, a captain of the Nama people, who fought gallantly against German colonial rule in the country. Jacob Morenga, who also waged a guerrilla war against the Imperial German army in the country. Mandume Yademufayo, the king of the Okwanyama, who led resistance in battles against the South African colonial forces. Ipumbu Yashilongo, the king of the Ukwambi, and a strong nationalist who resisted European cultural influence and control in the country. Anna Kakurukade Mungunda, the only woman who's featuring amongst that illustrious crowd, who was a protester against the forced eviction of Namibians from Windhoek's old location in 1959. We all know that set off the events of the uprising, and amongst others, Dr. Sam Shafishuna Nuyoma left the country thereafter as well. Chief Hosea Kutako, the paramount chief of the Ovahero, the early petitioner to the United Nations, the foremost nationalist of the country, he is also honored here as well.
Yes, indeed. And apart from that, you also have those heroes and former freedom fighters who died in the country after independence, but before the construction of Heroes Acre. And of course, I'm talking about people like Moses Garoeb, who was in exile, the administrative secretary of SWAPO. He then became SWAPO Secretary General before he became Minister of Labor. He died before the construction of Heroes Acre, so he was buried at the old location cemetery, as did Peter Mushiange, who was the Secretary of Defense of SWAPO in exile, then became the founding Minister of Defense of Namibia before being sent to China as Namibia's ambassador to China. He died before the construction of Heroes Acre, and he was also buried in Kadatura. And then you have Anton Lubovsky, who was gunned down before independence. He was gunned down, SWAPO functionary, a leading SWAPO member, activist, freedom fighter, and he was buried in Kadatura. And so these three heroes who were accorded hero status, their remains were disinterred and then reburied at Heroes Acre.
You are seeing the pallbearers there, Chief Herman Ipumbu, Mukonilwa Johannes Mupiwa, Honorable Pendukeni Ivula Itana, Honorable Laura McLeod Kashirwa, Major General Retired Charles Nimolo, and Lieutenant General Retired Martin Charlie. We had an opportunity to chat with Lieutenant General Retired Martin Charlie yesterday during our program as well.
We also have reserve pallbearers, and these would be Dr. Libertina Madela, Dr. Comrade Mr. Kanana Hishona, and Colonel Retired Eddie Shimi, and Colonel Retired Nepando Amupanda.
And we have seen the struggle icon and stalwart Dr. Libertina Madila. She has made her way here, and we can see her in our shot. Actually, she is not seated very far from where we are. She is such a stalwart, and our first Minister of Local Government, and later long-serving Minister of Health, and also Deputy Prime Minister.
Absolutely, she was also the first Minister of Local Government and Housing, and in that portfolio, right at the beginning of independence, she made it her duty to tar, all the roads in Kadatura, put street lamps, and put fences on the roads along the main road, which is now Independence Avenue, leading into Kadatura. That's one of the things. And then she was actually telling me that when she arrived, she found that the people staying in those matchbox apartheid era houses had been paying rent all those years, and she felt that they had paid the cost of the building of the houses 20 times over. So what she did is she embarked on a project with the approval of government under President Nyoma, to give the houses to the people who had been living there all those years, give the title deeds. All they had to do was to pay for the transfer of the title deeds, but they no longer had to pay. The houses were given to them. It was written off, they were given to them. The jubilation of the people who benefited from this gesture was absolutely unimaginable. I remember we did take to the streets to talk to people. They were absolutely ecstatic. Some of them were in tears about this fantastic gesture.
Not only on the housing front, but we all know the compounds that littered every town, and obviously a colonial legacy from the old, contract labor system, where you had workers grouped in this facilities, and she came to transform the old compounds, make them livable, facilities once again. And they were quite unhygienic at the time as well. Also, transformations even on the local leadership front. The zebra list system that we now hail, that has been adopted in leadership structures of the country, was something that she championed earlier on in the Local Authorities Act that made it possible for women councillors, local authority councillors, to be prominent members of those structures as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there's a huge crowd that is turned out today at Heroes Acre? It really is a big crowd. It's literally standing room only, and the crowd goes right down the road. It is really, as you can see, yes, from that shot, it really is full. And people felt that they had to come and pay their last respects to the founding president and father of the nation one last time. The honor of father of the nation and founding president was bestowed upon President Nyoma after he left office, and it was bestowed upon him by an act of parliament. So he was thereafter known as the founding president and father of the nation. Yeah.
We do understand from yesterday the leader of the official opposition, Honorable McHenry Venani, also informing us that he played a role somewhat because the motion or the bill was introduced, we understand now, by the vice president now, the president-elect, but from behind the scenes, the leader of the official opposition moved that this particular piece of legislation be adopted unanimously by Parliament so that recognition is given to our founding president.
The president of Zimbabwe, Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, making their way to the mausoleum. Yes, they will be getting in their cars and making their way to the mausoleum where the founding president is going to be laid to rest.
We see the Prime Minister, Sarah Kukangala Amadila, and Mr. Amadila also getting into the vehicle. That first cabinet of the Republic of Namibia. Obviously, we just talked about Dr. Lipetina Madila, but Honorable Pendukeni Vula Itana, the other lady amongst in that cabinet, that founding cabinet of the Republic, she was responsible for sports and youth, and now she is serving as a pallbearer on this particular occasion. She's also the deputy chairperson of the Sam Nujoma Foundation, very close to the president, founding president, that is. That's the vice president, president-elect. In less than 20 days from now, she will be sworn in as Namibia's 5th president. What they did was they printed out iconic pictures of the founding president, either meeting other dignitaries or holding children with that beaming smile once again, and they have posted them here at the Heroes Acre. If you drive up the road, you'll be able to see those big portrait pictures.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of the pictures come from the National Archives, and they were blown up and put along the driveway, as you said.
One interesting factoid on this particular occasion that we can share with you is that some of the coats of the president We understand from the Minister of Information that his quotes and a Bible verse will be
inscribed.
Inscribed, yes, that's the right word.
President Mnangagwa with his signature scarf of the Zimbabwean flag of Zimbabwe. Making.
Yes, please go ahead. President Hifikepunye Pohamba, former President Hifikepunye Pohamba. And former First Lady Benahopi for Pohamba. At 89 years old strong.
I would like to call the first line here, 3 vice presidents here to come.
You can see Ambassador Ipumbu, the chief of protocol, really has been on national duty during this period, serving the country in this particular role as chief of protocol, really facilitating and making sure that the program flows seamlessly yesterday and today as well.
I suspect this could be the Vice President of Tanzania. Yes.
What they have tried to do over the years now is really to record the history of the liberation struggle. We understand that there is a center that has been started that is now housed in Tanzania, where the history of the liberation movements is being documented as well, in various formats, in written word, but also in documentaries and the like. So this history, that particular history, is now properly documented. And we see Lieutenant General retired Ian Khama, former president of Botswana.
Please move the shuttle, move.
General Khama there conferring with Tatepen Amadila. So the formative members of OPPO, SWAPO are really, as we have said, they are disappearing from the scene. You now have quite a handful of them that know and have observed those events close up. Tatabenda Madila being one of them, Vinia Dadi being another, and former President Hifikepunye Pohamba. So they were at that onset of that important political activism that happened in the country.
So Seretse Ian Khama, we hadn't seen him before. In fact, I think this is the first time that we're actually seeing him on our screens. Hinsley.
Now the buses are not there. Why are they taking long? I'm waiting for the shuttles. Where are they? I'm waiting for the shuttles. They should not be stuck up there.
Because they told us when. That is former President Hifikepunye Pohamba saying goodbye to a comrade in arms. And we do know that they met in the early 60s. The president telling us yesterday that he met the founding president in 1963, I believe. And they have been at each other's side since then. When you read the book of the former president, you'll get to appreciate the friendship between the two. At one stage, he shares a little bit of an anecdote where he went to the hospital to see the founding president who was not well at a particular point in time. And all of a sudden, Dr. Pohamba could not leave, and the attending doctor at the time then told him, no, you need to leave. The visiting time has ended. But he then said, no, you can just as well book me in because I'm not leaving. So they ended up staying, both of them, in hospital for a couple of days. So that tells you the close relationship between the founding president and the second president of the republic. This is the former Finnish president. She's also waiting to be taken all the way up. But as you can see, it's quite a sizable number of dignitaries have made their way up. Close family members and cabinet ministers. This is the representative of the Cuban president, speaker of their parliament.
These people must wait.
And there you see the former Prime Minister, former Deputy Prime Minister, First Minister of Local Government, Dr. Libertine Amadilla Apollos, making her way to the graveside. Earlier on your screens, you did see the president of, the former president of the DRC, Joseph Kabila.
We understand from the Ministry of Information, Communication Technology that over 650 foreign journalists have been accredited to cover the burial of our founding father.
And for those of you who have just joined us, we are coming to you live from Heroes Acre, where we are laying the founding president and father of the nation, President Sam Nujoma, to rest. We earlier had a memorial service yesterday at Independence Avenue, and his body lay in state, and Namibians were able to go and pay their last respects. And today we are laying him to rest. Where will he be buried, Kadembere?
In that picture you just saw former President Thabo Mbeki, former President Joaquim Chissano of Mozambique. Their tenure in office obviously coincided with that of our former president, the founding president that is, and the father of the Namibian nation. President for 15 years, and so he served alongside the SADC leaders, and they interacted with him and they engaged with him on a number of issues confronting the SADC region and the African continent.
Is this the statue of the unknown soldier? Indeed. Looking remarkably like the founding president. There's a huge crowd that has come out from far and wide, we are assuming, that have come to pay their respects. They are braving the hot sun and waiting very patiently to see off their founding president, icon, hero, father of the nation.
When I was making my way into the Heroes Acre, I found, a father with about three or four of his kids, just making their way into the stadium. And I asked him, why have you asked these little ones to accompany you? And he's saying, look, this is a historical event, and therefore these children need to know and appreciate this history. And so the whole community has come together. For the past 20 days, Namibians in all four corners of our republic have come together to pay their final respects in a dignified manner with an outpouring of love for their founding president.
Kadambira, it's hardly surprising that you have delegations from Angola, from Tanzania, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Zimbabwe, and of course from South Africa, because these countries during the liberation struggle had very close ties with the founding president. They are some of the countries, and of course Finland, they are some of the countries that provided material and other support to SWAPO, the liberation movement.
President-elect and General retired Daitwa. Former President Thabo Mbeki now conferring with the Zimbabwean and Angolan presidents. Justice Chivute, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Namibia, and Judge Chivute.
The bus doesn't have anybody.
And this is the former First Lady, founding First Lady, Madam Kovamba Nyoma, being taken to the car and obviously making her way to lay her dear husband to rest.
Whether those cars that were making their way to the Heroes Acre, whether that line has disappeared or whether there are still people that are trying to make their way to the Heroes Acre. The public members, as we saw a bit earlier, the roads were quite busy and there was a long line snaking its way to the Heroes Acre.
Indeed, the roads were very busy. We're being informed that the roads are clear, so anybody who would like to make their way to Heroes Acre, please do so. You can see the presidents have now taken their place in the tent which has been erected at the top next to the mausoleum, where the founding president, President Sam Nyoma, is going to be laid to rest. You can see President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, João Lourenço of Angola, the Vice President and President-elect Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, with her husband, retired General Ndaitwa, Denka Ndaitwa. That is Dr. Libertine next to him. And that is Libertine, Dr. Libertine. And of course, the second president, President Hifikepunye Pohamba, also known as Lucas Pohamba.
We understood yesterday, Honorable McHenry Venani, the only person that named the former president by name yesterday. Something that is unusual, but I assume the peers of his generation call him by that name.
When you look at it from this angle, from this vantage point, it may appear that Heroes Acre has been, the way it's constructed, is not very user-friendly for people living with disabilities or who have challenges with walking, because there are no ramps, as it were, or there has been no provision at this occasion for ramps to be put up to make it easier and other mobile devices or assistants to be able to make it. As you can see, these are stairs, and people with mobility challenges have to walk up the stairs.
Yes, that is obviously work for another day that needs to be immediately instituted so that this is taken care of. Nonetheless, Namibians, joined by their friends from across the region, the continent, and globally are paying their final respects to the founding father of the Namibian nation.
This is Vini and Daddy making his way up the stairs.
Binia Daddy was an organizer in Walvis Bay as well. And I interviewed him once and he was telling me that he was earmarked to go to the United Nations to petition. And the plan was for him to get on one of the ships. But obviously he did not make that particular trip. But obviously one of the early liberation activists at the time, organizing in Walvis Bay and other areas, including the northern parts of the country, for workers to join OPPO and then successfully the SWAPO.
Henry Penani, the leader of the official opposition, who gave a rousing speech yesterday at the memorial of the late founding president.
He has a cunning ability to read the room, and really at that particular moment yesterday we saw a statesman building bridges across the political divide, as it were. Very heartfelt message.
Stormy seas.